Hello again. In my previous video, which was just this past Monday, I started working on this, what I call a glue book folder. And it's made with 2 greeting cards. So what I did was put them together and then cover them. And I didn't finish it because I didn't plan to, but today I'm planning to finish it. Now, to be perfectly transparent, I have had a couple of little problems. One was that the paper I used for this design paper is a little bit heavy for the project. I think a lighter paper would work better. And also I used tracing paper here and I put glitter in it, but my glue didn't hold very well, so it kind of popped off. I had to dump out some of the glitter and then glue it back down. And also I bound it with this washi tape, which did not want to stick. I think any kind of pressure on it made it want to pop up, so I had to glue it down as well. However, lesson learned, or lessons, because when I do a project like this, sometimes I'm just experimenting. You could call it winging it, but I'm actually experimenting to see what kind of things work. And now I've learned something, and so have you, at my expense, which is fine. The concept works well, but you have to have enough room for the pages to close and that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm going to carry on and finish the decorating of this project. And to start with, I'm going to use some pink tissue paper. And again, I'm going to just reiterate that I'm kind of making it up as I go along. I did make some plans, but you know, sometimes they don't work out exactly the way you think they will, and that's fine. Because if it doesn't, you learn something. Okay, now I need some cooperation here. What I'm going to do is stamp on the tissue paper and then use it, just tear around it and put it down here. So I'm going to move this. I'm going to use some of this parchment underneath because it will probably soak through. I originally thought I wouldn't use a block because I was thinking of stamping it directly onto the page, but that can go wrong. Like, you know how stamping is? If it's not completely level and hard underneath, then you don't get a nice stamp. So I'm going to do it this way instead. And even like this, sometimes if you look at it, it's like, okay, is the ink getting on every surface that it's supposed to? It looks like it is, so we'll try it. Press it down hard and leave it for a minute so it has a chance to soak into the paper. And this is quite absorbent paper, so hopefully it'll work out well. Perfect, that's exactly what I was after. Now I am going to, that looks like it even took all the ink off the stamp, which is wonderful. Okay, there's that one, and I also want to use May Your Day Be Filled with Good Things. So I've got a different size block for that. So I'll just pull this off here. And again, I'm doing it on the tissue paper so that I don't have to do it right on the folder itself, because I don't want weird stuff happening. That looks pretty complete. Just do this down here so that I have room to tear around them and not have a problem. I don't want problems. Doesn't that like explain life? I don't want problems. I want everything to be fine. Perfect. Happy, happy. Okay, I'm just going to put these back where they came from. And these are stamps I just found at a local dollar store. It's not my dollar store, but I like to check regularly at the dollar stores because they get new stuff all the time, and quite often they're really nice. Okay, so I don't need that at the moment. So Just so you know, you probably already know this, but paper has a grain the same way that fabric does. So some directions it tears well and others it doesn't. So you can tell where the grain is if it's tearing nicely, and if you're having to like tug on it and pull it in all directions, you might think it's elsewhere. This one is actually not too bad. I want it to go this way. It doesn't want to tear this way. Alright, I'll do it like this and then tear from here and see if I can do it a little bit better. Like that. And I need to also decide how big I want this to be. So I want it fairly close to the flower, which might be a little bit on the tricky side, but we can do it. It's just a matter of doing it carefully. I was reading something today in a magazine about this. It was like a blog post in a magazine kind of thing. The author of that piece said that she found doing an art journal was very healing. And I thought that's an interesting thought. You know, I think we look for things to heal our wounds, and everybody has them. Even if you had a perfect childhood and you're living a wonderful life, still, you know, all it takes is for someone to say something that hurts, and that's like a little wound. And certainly doing something creative, I think, gives you the opportunity. There. Okay, I can either put it there or I can put it here. Let's see, let's do this and try, then I can try them both. So doing something creative kind of calms your mind, as you know, and sometimes just doing that alone lets your whole system calm down. You know what I mean? But it's like they say, time heals all wounds. No, it doesn't. But one thing that does heal wounds is forgiveness. So no matter how deeply you've been hurt, forgiveness will help the wounds heal. It doesn't excuse the person or the people who've hurt you. But the Bible says, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. And basically holding a grudge against someone for the rest of your life is going to hurt you more than them. Or it won't hurt them at all, really, probably. I think I like that better like that, just because of the fit. Now, my question with this is, what kind of glue is the best? Because I've had a little bit of trouble. I'm going to just turn on my fan because my lights are hot, and that makes everything blow away, of course. Don't blow away. Yeah, glue is a funny one because, as we've discussed before, the wetter glue is going to warp the paper. The wetter the glue, the more warping you're going to get. So, this is just as good on the back side. Almost better. Which side is the back side? This is the back side. I guess it wouldn't really matter, since it soaked through so evenly. Now, the tricky thing about this tissue paper is that as soon as it gets any kind of dampness, and even a glue like this has some dampness on it, it will start to warp and tear and whatnot. So I'm going to just pop it in here. And if the edges pop up, that's okay. I think it sort of adds a little bit. I talked about in the previous video on this topic about the warmth and the coolness of the pink. So these are cool pinks, and so is this. This is a little bit more neutral, but this is a warm pink. And ordinarily I wouldn't mix them, and I was going to use white, but I had this pink, you know, just lying here, and I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just use this pink, because I think it'll probably come up in other things as well. Okay, don't stick too hard here. This stuff is really fragile. Okay. So my purpose, or the purpose for a project like this, is that you can make it as a sort of a super card. You know, if you go to the store and buy a greeting card, that's nice, but if you make it yourself, it's kind of even more special. Alright, so that's that page done. Now I'm going to work on this page, and I've already got out a few things, like these tulips and this fairy, and I recently got these in the mail that I ordered from Temu. I will put a link below. So I thought what I would do is to use one of these as well. Now my question is, should I put the tulips over the edge of the fairy, or the fairy over the tulips? And I think the fairy goes down first, and then I can put the tulip there a little bit over it, just so it kind of looks how I want it to look, which, you know, doesn't really say too much, I guess. Alright, make sure there's no real sticky spots on here so I don't get glue on the front. These ones were out of a book that had the pictures on both sides, so regardless of what side I use, I'm going to lose one. But I really like this one, and the pink works, so works for my purposes. And again, I'm using my glue stick with this GLOO stick. You can find a link for this below as well. It's great glue. I really like it, and would recommend it. It's better than any other glue stick that I've used. And that's just my opinion, so someone else might have a stick glue that's incredible, but I happen to have found this one and I like it a lot. So now my tulips will go down. So we've had really nice fall weather here, and only a couple of rainy days, which are pretty desperately needed, to be honest. And we've had a lot of forest fires this year. We had a really long dry summer, a long dry spell, as my grandfather used to say. If it doesn't rain, it'll be a long dry spell. Okay, this is good and sticky, like I said, so I want it to just touch over the edge here, like that. I think that goes really nicely. Now it goes off the page, which I knew it was going to. So I'm just going to make sure I got all these little fronds stuck down. And then I'll just trim this off, like that. And now I want to use one of these. And I'm thinking, listen to your heart, it will show you the way. Just along the bottom here will be nice. I like this, trust your crazy ideas. So this is the first one I've used from this set, because I bought them and then kind of forgot about them. So this is a great message. Doesn't that look nice? So pretty. Okay, so for this page, you probably remember this if you watched the previous video, so that's going to go here. And I also got these out, and I like this to go here. So this one will go down first, and then I'll put these on. And I'm making this into a pocket so I can put this in, which I love. And that means I only put glue on 3 sides. Now, I just had a call from somebody, and I don't know even what It's crazy because there's so many ways to communicate now through the computer that, you know, it rang, I just barely heard it, and then they hung up before I could get there and wake my computer up again, which has been very slow waking up, slower than even me. I haven't been waking up that early because sometimes I'm awake in the nighttime, but if it's important, they'll let me know, I'm sure. I always like to answer if it's my daughter because she's not the easiest person to get hold of. She has 3 children, including a baby who's only 8 months old. And so sometimes she's dealing with baby and feeding her and nursing and all that kind of stuff. And then the other kids are busy and coming home from school and da 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 da. So if she ever calls me, it's like, whoa, a miracle. Don't tell her I said that. Okay, this is going to go just inside here so that all these little green parts don't go off the edge. Now it was pretty hard to glue some of those, and they might be not very stuck down. Okay, and I also found this butterfly. I thought I would put it in the middle here. And this one is actually a cardstock butterfly, so I'm going to use this glue. I hope the person who called, I think it's this person from Australia. We had met online, and we're planning to have a visit, and I said, so what time? This can go, just slide in here, like that, and there's that one. Now I'm going to decorate this part, but I'm not going to decorate this part because it's just the back. So I've picked out a few things here, and I'm going to just turn it over here, open it up, and because it's easier to work on. And what I want to do with this is, this is also experimental, so you can see I've tried something here. If it doesn't work out, we'll chalk it up to experience. But I'm going to first distress this edge, just so that it stands away from the background a little bit. I could have torn it, actually. I wonder if I should do that. No, I like the idea of the torn edge, and then I've got this as well, and this one has kind of a white border around it, so I'm going to do the distressing a little bit farther in so that it kind of touches the color part. That way it'll blend a little bit more. That's my hope anyway. That works totally. And I'm going to use this again, so I'm going to keep it right here, but first I want to glue this down. And I need to move this stuff. There we go. Don't need my scissors here. Okay, so which glue to use? I think I'm going to use this one. And this paper actually has a bit of texture to it. It's I don't think it's really handmade paper, but it has that feel to it. And then I can pick it up with my finger, just like magic. And put it on this page. I'm going to put a little bit closer to the top than the bottom. Okay, so there's that. This is going to go here. And then down here, I'm going to use this little, this thing as a stencil. Either that or I could just glue it on as it is. First wait, one thing at a time. I'm going to put this on. Now I really wonder who called me. If it's that lady from Australia, like, I have no idea what time it is over there. It's like 2:30 in the afternoon here right now. Okay, so this big peony will go right there. And this, with this brown, you know, the vintage photo distressing, it kind of pulls in this brownish color here too. This, I love this how it is, but I'm going to try something. If this is a total flop, well, we'll just find out. In fact, I might even use the walnut stain so that it's actually a better color. Now, I want to know what it's going to look like. So, I guess that'll work. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here goes. I think doing this squidgy shaping probably works better. That makes sense? I mean, like pushing the brush around like that. And I don't dare move it because who knows where it'll end up. So yesterday my husband and I went to see the new Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, and it's really cute. I mean, I love the others and everything that Nia Vardalos does, and the people who are in it, like Andrea Martin, who's been a scream forever. And it was a kind of a fun plot, not terribly deep, but then it is a comedy. But it was funny because we went Sunday afternoon after church, and that was yesterday compared to what I'm doing today. It worked! It's successful! Yay! Okay, alright. Okay, I'm going to put one more saying in just across here to kind of tie it together. How about hold tight to your dreams? I like that. I'll put it a little bit off center. Okay. So there's our back page too. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Looks a little bit smudgy, but I think that's okay. Made for a good stencil. Now, one of the problems that I ran into with the paper being a little on the thick side is that it does this. It doesn't want to stay down. So I decided what I would do here. I cut a little edge off here, and unfortunately I did it when this paper was still kind of wet, so it kind of didn't turn out well. But anyway, I'm going to be honest about that. Now, I thought what I would do here is, rather than putting some kind of clip on it, I would just use a ribbon. And I have a nice one here, which I think goes with all the colors. And just tie a ribbon around it. Now, my question is then, I think I might attach it here, but I need to know how much I need. So I think that's probably plenty. I'm not meaning for it to go around and around, just to attach and tie. So I think what I need to do is measure this. So here's my measuring here. Of course, it's about 8.5, so about 4 1/4. So this is about the center here, and this is going to be this center about here. And I could actually make holes through it, but I'm not going to complicate it that much. So I'm just going to put a nice little blob of it here, like that. Find my middle again, and just press that into that. Do you know what I'm going to do is put a little bit on this paper as well, because I'm not trusting washi tape right now. So I'm going to put a little line of it here. and glue it there, just in case it doesn't want to stick to the washi tape. I'm just going to let this dry for a few minutes. Okay, my glue I think is pretty dry now. So here's the project. With the front, it's got the glitter in the behind the tracing paper, and this lovely little frame. And like I said, watch the first video to get the whole start of it. And then on this page we've got, this is from a greeting card as well, which I think is really pretty. I just fussy cutted it out. Cutted, that's not a word. And then this is tissue paper. So front is tracing paper, this is tissue paper. Don't you just love that there's so many kinds of paper? And on this one we've got, this is from an illustrated cookbook that I found at a used bookstore. And this is the Cecily Mary Barker fairies, and then a nice sticker. And then here, this lovely piece that I got from Grabby, which I thought makes a nice little insert there. And you know, somebody could write on the back if you want, but I pulled these pinks all through, which I think is lovely. And then this one on the back with the peony and the stencil. That's a new one for me to try, but it worked, so that's a good thing. I see this is being pushed up a little bit. So what I've learned from this is I could probably, I think I already did shave this off a little bit, but I could probably take a little bit more off so that it folds a little bit better. What I learned from this, as I mentioned, is don't use such heavy paper on it. Just use a lighter paper, and be aware that there's going to be pressure on the bends on these kind of areas here, but that's okay as long as you know, and you go, okay, well, I'm going to have to, you know, give it a little bit of extra room or whatever. So in order to give it as a gift or whatever you want to do with it, I will tie this, if I could get my fingers to work correctly. So it can tie at the very edge, or it can tie in the middle, or wherever you want. But I like the color of the ribbon, which I just happen to have a lot of. So that just goes like that, and I could cut these off if I want to, but I think this is really pretty, and it was a fun project to try. And there you have it. Please have a look at these two videos. I think you'll also enjoy it. The one is the previous one that I mentioned. And I'll see you next time.